Coming up, the problem with MLB TV's record-breaking numbers and more new rules in the minor leagues. What's up, everybody? Welcome to La Bodega. I'm sitting here with my primo Luis Angel with the Águilas hat and the Buffalo Bills hat and the Boston Red Sox hat, and I'm assuming that's a Corozo or something softball hat. Follow him on Twitter at Hova Mojo. He's the man with too many names. Luis, what's up, man?
Manny, happy to be here. By the way, guys, in case you didn't know, this is your first time listening to this podcast. The man who was just speaking goes by the name of Manny, also known as Manny Go3 on Twitter. This guy can get into any ballpark, walk up to any baseball player, and let him know what the deal is, man. So if you guys have a problem with something and maybe a fantasy baseball player of yours isn't performing as expected, shoot us a comment. He'll take care of that for you.
Yeah, so I can't just go up to any ball player because of COVID restrictions. But I can't get into ballparks.
Don't believe him. Don't believe him. He's lying, man.
All right, fine.
He's vaccinated.
Let's get into some baseball. So Major League Baseball made a few announcements this week. I know there's a lot of games and all that stuff, and you guys are hearing it from all over the place. So we're not going to bore you with all the details of all the games that went through this week and how poorly the Yankees are playing and all. Who wants to talk about that, right?
Yeah.
So today we're going to dedicate this episode to a couple of announcements that Major League Baseball released. The first one is this was released on April 19th, 2021. Major League Baseball is puffing out his chest because MLB TV registers record streaming numbers and most watch period in its history. So more than 1.34 billion minutes of live games were watched through the first 3 weekends. I think they broke their record for opening day and so on and so forth. And I think baseball should definitely applaud themselves for it. Good for you, baseball. But they also should be thinking to themselves, what opportunities are there here that we're missing because of blackout restrictions? And how many people are streaming games illegally because of baseball's blackout restrictions? And so good for you, baseball, for recording these numbers, but bad on you because this is a big missed opportunity, I think.
And it's interesting, right? Because they're putting up these numbers streaming wise, but we keep hearing that baseball is losing viewers because it's not exciting anymore. The ball's not being put in play, and that's definitely true. To start the season, there's there's a pitcher flirting with a no-hitter almost every other day now. Mm-hmm. Guys are breaking strikeout records almost every week. So what do you think is causing this surge in viewership?
I think it's that last season we got a shortened year. And so people didn't get all their baseball fix that they wanted last year. People are itching to get back into ballparks, and they're trying to get more interested in their teams before they make their way to their ballparks. I think that has to play a role in it. I think baseball did a pretty good job, although I think they have to do a lot of work in the offseason. I think they did a pretty good job selling themselves with Fernando Tatis being on Gatorade commercials, and he's a big deal now. I also think that the no-hitters played a big role in it because how many people were like, oh shit, there's a no-hitter. Let me tune in and watch this. You know what I mean? So I think that all those things play a part in it. I don't think that this is any indicator that baseball is becoming any more popular or not, to be honest. When I saw this announcement, I think that baseball still has a lot of work to do. And so this is a perfect transition into a few weeks ago, we made an episode going over some experimental rules that baseball was using. Well, last week on April 14th, they released another news release, a press release, announcing a few more rule changes that they're going to implement in the Atlantic League for the 2021 season. So we're going to go over these and see what we think. And in the meantime, you tell us what you think in the comment section below. While you're at it, hit that thumbs up and subscribe, rate, review on the podcast, wherever podcasts are found. Okay, so here's the first one, Luis. So We have the double hook, the designated hitter. They're going to implement this immediately. Here's what it is. Once a team's starting pitcher is replaced, the team will lose the designated hitter for the remainder of the game. The club will require to use a pinch hitter or the relief pitcher will bat. The double hook rule represents a potential compromise between the historical rules of the National League, which has not employed the designated hitter except in 2020, and the American League, which has used the DH since 1973. Nearly 90% of pitching starts in the major leagues in 2020 lasted less than 7 innings. By linking the DH to the starting pitcher, the rule aims to incentivize teams to leave their starting pitchers in longer. What do you think of this?
I think it's a dumb rule. I feel like why why complicate things? Just give us the DH, man, for both leagues. For all the old baseball heads that are like, oh, it's a strategy in the National League. I like that part of the game. I like that the managers have to use strategy. I don't think people realize, and I know this rule addresses that, right? Because it allows, I guess it incentivizes starting managers to leave a starting pitcher in longer, but it's still at a cost, right? Like, I think it's more exciting to see Jacob deGrom pitch an extra inning than having the manager to make the decision to pinch hit for him. When the time comes, it's the 7th or 8th inning, it's late in the game, and he has an opportunity to score, and he has to now pinch it for deGrom. I understand that this rule addresses that. Managers feel like they'll leave their starting pitchers in longer, but now they have to work around, like, okay, do I want to take my starting pitcher out, or do I want to give this DH, a guy that I have in the lineup for a reason, an extra at bat? I think it just complicates things. Just honestly, just adopt the DH in the National League, and people that don't like it will just move on. And that's something that I'm starting to learn, Manny, that as much as I don't like these rule changes, I'm going to accept it, and life will go on. I'm not a fan of the I know this is going off of what you just asked me, but I'm not a fan of the second base runner in extra innings. But I got to be honest, like, it's good that I don't have to watch an extra 2 hours of baseball because guys aren't putting the ball in play and the game will never end. So even though I don't like the rule, I like the outcome of it, that the game is shortened.
Yeah. You don't have to sit
and
there
I'll just
for
have to
18
live with
innings.
that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I'm with you.
What do you think about that rule?
I'm with you 100%. I think I get it. I understand. Like, a manager is going to think, I don't want to lose my designated hitter here, so maybe I'll let my pitcher go out one more inning, see what he can give me. But if I don't know. It just, I feel like it's putting people in a tough spot. I feel like if a pitcher, I think analytics are such that if a pitcher has faced the lineup twice, I don't think managers are going to think twice about removing him. Whether this designated hitter, there's going to be an analytical, strategy to this, and it's not going to work. I don't know. I don't like it. I think you should just leave the designated hitter and do something else to incentivize teams to keep their starting pitchers in. Maybe, I don't know. Maybe implement a rule like you can't go to a reliever until the 5th inning or something. I don't know. Okay,
so is this rule supposed to be for both leagues, American and national? Like, if it were to ever make its way to the majors, that's so stupid. And I'm sorry, but I'm not saying I want to see all pitchers go longer. I don't want to see Corey Kluber, and I'm only using my examples. The first guy that came to my mind, this isn't about Corey Kluber, but he's not what he used to be. I don't want to see Corey Kluber go out and face the lineup for a third time around and get bashed. Like, that's not what I want to see, but I want to see even Marcus Stroman. Like, if he's rolling and he's good enough to face a lineup, if a pitcher has earned the opportunity to face that lineup a third time around, his pitch count is in a good range, good amount of pitches thrown, maybe like 10 per inning or something, and he's good enough to face a lineup a third time around. I don't want that decision to come down to, well, I had to take him out because there was a man on base and his turn in the lineup was up. And I'm tired of watching pitchers go up and just not know how to hit. Yeah, I understand there's some guys that can hit. Let those guys hit. Don't let every pitcher hit. These guys are pitchers, man. Do you know what it is to exert yourself on a mound for 15 minutes, let's say, and then to go up and take an at bat? I think we just got to get over that already, man. The sport has changed in a million different ways, and we're still holding on to this. Oh, I want to see my pitcher sit, and I want to see managers strategically work around it.
And what's the strategy? The double switch? Like that's not even that big of who cares? You know what I'm saying?
The strategy is literally
every time you have Jacob deGrom, who I think is I'm ready, I'm officially ready to call this guy the best player in baseball right now. Every time you have Jacob deGrom pick up a bat, you're risking losing the best player in baseball right now. You know what I'm saying? And it's like I don't get it. And I get it. I understand that every time he throws a ball, he risks getting hurt, but it's like unnecessary. It's an unnecessary risk that you're taking, having these pitchers go up to hit. And it's not what fans want to watch anymore. We don't want to watch a guy who doesn't know how to hit, because these guys don't practice hitting as much as they should. I don't want to watch a guy who doesn't know how to hit go up there and look foolish, once every 9 batters. It doesn't make any sense anymore, not in this day and age.
Yeah, to me, you can't have it both. You can't have the perfect baseball game the way you'd like it. To me, having a DH it checks off a couple things. It's more exciting because they're now pitching to 9 guys in a lineup that can hit well. Hope you would think. Creates more jobs for those guys like the Nelson Cruzes and all those guys that are
his career,
maybe
right?
Are just in the major leagues. Yeah, and it's like you said, it preserves. Not only does it open the door for Jacob deGrom to maybe go a complete game, because the manager doesn't now have to put in a hitter when the opportunity presents itself to score a run. But it's like you said, it's safer for the pitchers. And I'm sorry, you're on a mound at the major league level. You're exerting yourself for as many pitches as a pitcher has to throw on the mound to then go in and have to take an at bat. I don't know. I don't care about that stuff anymore. And I think that rule is honestly, it's one of the dumber rules I've seen.
It's unexpected.
That's all I gotta say.
That's for sure. All right. So pitching. So here's the second one. Pitching rubber is going to be moved back 1 foot. This is in the second half of the Atlantic League season. It's going to be moved. Let me see. Moving the pitching rubber back 12 inches to 61, and 61 feet will provide batters with more time to react to pitches. The expectation is that more reaction time will help batters make contact more frequently, putting more balls into play and creating more action in the game. The reaction time on a 93.3 mile an hour fastball, that's the average velocity in 2020, thrown from 61.5 feet, is approximately equivalent to a 91.6 mile an hour fastball thrown from 60. I don't get that. Oh, I get it.
Can you repeat that?
It says the reaction time on a 93.3 mile an hour fastball, that's the average velocity in 2020, thrown from 61.5 feet, is approximately equivalent to a 91.6 mile an hour fastball. The average fastball velocity in 2020 thrown from a thrown from 60.5 feet. So I guess what they're trying to do is to bring things back 10 years to what 10 years were before. I guess like they're trying to bring the average velocity back, man. By moving the mound back. They're trying to decrease velocity to the levels that they were in 2010 is what I'm understanding here. Point is, they're moving the mound back so that batters have more reaction time for pitches. I feel like this is I don't want to sound like a purist, because I'm okay with some rule changes. Like I'm okay with trying to improve pace of play, maybe make the game more exciting, like the home run idea that we had in extra innings, stuff like that, the home run derby. I'm okay with stuff like this. This, for some reason, this feels like you're changing the game.
Yeah, this seems a little bit too much. But I will say this before I give you my opinion on this rule. I'm not in favor of this rule, but this for the first time since obviously last year, we got to play our first baseball game of the season with the baseball team that I play with. You're familiar with it. You've played with us in the past, man. You know what we're about.
Oh yeah.
And and I get up to the batter's box, and we've been taking BP in the offseason and everything, but I get to the batter's box, and in the game, I'm standing there, and it's almost like I could see the pitcher as close as he's ever been, right? Like it's almost like I'm looking at the game in a different way. I don't know if it's because I'm paying attention more, but I personally, the thought crossed through my brain. I was like, I cannot believe that there's a man like Jordan Hicks who stands in the same distance that this guy's standing, except he's throwing 102 and 103, and that there's actually people that are able to turn around and jack a home run or whatever, right? So for a split second, I thought to myself, like, okay, maybe this mound should be moved back a little bit because it's kind of ridiculous. Like, I almost feel like somebody could die if one gets away from a Jordan Hicks and it hits someone in the head. But then I started thinking, like, I'm not really in favor of this rule because it's not that guys have gotten worse at making contact with the ball. We're still seeing 30, 40, 50 home runs a season. We're still seeing guys hit the ball for 200 hits in a season. I just think it's the approach, man. I'm convinced it's the approach. Why is David Fletcher able to put the ball in play? Why is Ronald Acuna able to sustain a good batting average and still hit home runs? Maybe there's guys that aren't meant to hit home runs at the expense of not striking out too much, you know? Like maybe you just got to change your approach. And I'm sorry, I don't really agree with this rule in particular. I think it's going to inflate some numbers. I think we're going to be looking at a different game at this point.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know, man. I don't even know what to say to this. I'm almost thinking like, if we're willing to go this far, if we're willing to go as far as moving the pitching rubber back, I know that they've changed the height of the mound and stuff in the past. And like Russ Ortiz said that in Dodger Stadium, the mound is higher than anywhere else. He loved pitching there for some reason or something. And so while you were talking there, I was looking up what is the average, what is a mound height supposed to be? Do you know the answer to this question by any chance?
15 inches.
Yeah, it's 15. I think it's supposed to be 15 inches. In 1950, they settled for 15 inches. In 1968, the rules were changed to reduce the mound to the contemporary 10-inch height. Some accusations of gamesmanship with mounds continue, usually with visiting teams complaining that the mounds in the visitors' bullpen don't match the mound on the field. I've heard that before. But then you hear things like, oh, the mound in Dodger Stadium is better than the mound anywhere else. And if you look at historical numbers, they have the best pitching in baseball history. Like historically, the Dodgers have the highest WAR for pitchers and of all teams. But anyway, the point that I'm trying to make is if you're willing to move the mound back, then just blow it all up and start thinking of new things altogether. Maybe, I don't know. This is stupid, but just hear me out here. And I don't think that baseball should do this, but like something like if you strike out 3 times, you're out of the game or some shit like that. You know what I mean? If you fucking get the hat trick, honestly, you're out. Somebody else. And then you're incentivizing don't strike out. You know what I'm saying? Maybe do something like that then. I don't know. Like I just don't want to start changing lines or there's enough variety in baseball where every stadium has different dimensions. Like I said, some mounds might be higher than others, though they shouldn't be, or whatever. You have certain features in stadiums where you have the green monster, the walls aren't the same height or whatever. And in some places, also in Boston, the pesky pole, that wall's really short. You know what I mean? Like we've accepted that and we're okay with that. It's the only sport where we're okay with that, right? But you're gonna start changing the size of the like the where the mound is on the field, like that's never changed before. That's something that hasn't moved in the past. So why not just bring the bases in? Yeah, I actually kind of like what I said. If you get the hat trick, you're out. Like if you strike out 3 times, you're out of the game. Like it's not an ejection. It's almost like fouling out of a game or something. You know, like what do you think of something like that?
If we want to reduce this. I mean, yeah, I'm saying like if they do end up moving the mound back, why not implement a rule like that? Personally, I would just leave the game the way it is right now. Yeah. But I just have a feeling like what happens if they move the mound back and strikeouts stay around the same and the balls are still not being put in play as much anymore because guys are still trying to hit home runs. Like, what happens then? Like, do we move the mound back another foot? Are these guys gonna have to like crow hop it in from second base now? Like, I don't know. Like,
yeah, I don't know, man. I don't know what we're gonna do here. Those are the new 2 rules that baseball is gonna be testing out in the Atlantic League. I just did some research recently because I live about 3 miles away from Atlantic League team, the Barnstormers. So I just did some research, and because I wasn't sure if they were a part of the Atlantic League, and they are, and I want to go out there in the second half of the season when all of these things are in play and kind of see how the game flows. So stay tuned for that because I think I will do that.
So the mound will be a foot back in the second half of the season.
Yep.
Wow.
That'll be interesting to see.
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah. So my camera died. So I think that's the world telling us shut up now. Follow Luis at Hovamojo on Twitter. Follow me at MannyGo3. Thanks for coming to La Bodega. Peace out, everybody.
Peace.